Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Christopher Stanichar, and I'm going to give you an example of what I'm expecting for this first performance exam that you're going to do, and kind of show you what I'm looking for throughout. So one thing to remember, and the most important thing, is good posture for conducting, keeping your shoulders back, all those things that you ask for from your students, that they're sitting up straight. You want to demonstrate that in your own conducting. You have your own presence on the podium, and that's where that comes from. When I'm standing, although this video doesn't show you my legs in their totality, I keep my legs somewhat apart, and I lean more towards the left leg, and so that I can hello, and keep a little bit of weight dispersed that way. You don't want to keep your legs really close together, because if you do, it'll be exhausting after a while. So just keeping your legs slightly apart, and keeping your shoulder back and your arms rested here. Your horizontal plane should typically be right here in the middle of your torso. So as you might have seen that Elizabeth Green video, keeping your hands moving side to side this way. Also vertically up and down, using really the center of your body as that gravity as well. So talking about posture, just demonstrating that in everything that you do is going to be an important part of what you show as a conductor. Your assignment mentioned the daily dozens, and we'll consider that to be from past courses, so that's not necessary for this. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is that instead of doing 12 measures of each one of the different patterns and also the entrances, you only need to do 4 bars. That's enough to kind of get the idea of what's going on and to give a real feeling for your comprehension of the metronome at 60 as well. So as I said before, the first thing that we're looking for is good posture. The next is conducting a 4 pattern. So I'll give you the demonstration of that. In the 4 pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeping it always just really in the center of your body for now. A little bit ahead of you, and really your whole arm acts as a pivot, so that you're showing the ictus at the end of that, even in a legato passage in your wrist. So here's an example of 4. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 4, 4. And yes, you may keep the metronome moving or on while you're giving that conducting example. Notice also keeping your head straight forward will help as well. Okay, 3 pattern, 1, 2, 3. Always to the right. As a musician, you know right away if you're sitting down and you're in 3 pattern, if a conductor is going to the left for any reason, unless it's subdivided maybe, but that doesn't really make sense either. But for any reason, you will be confused as a musician. You're waiting for that right hand to show 1, 2, 3. One more thing. Every pattern contains a downbeat and an upbeat. So the downbeat is always the same. The one thing that you always must have is a downbeat, and that could be followed by an upbeat. But if we're in 1, you're only seeing the downbeat. 1, 1, 1, upbeat here. And in any pattern, if I'm conducting 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, upbeat, downbeat. So it's always going to be the same. Those should be non-negotiable and always there. So back to 3. I'll give you an example of 3. We'll do 4 bars. That's all you need to do. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2. Okay. You'll notice I'm not giving cutoffs at any of these. We're just going to the basics just to get those kind of like really solid for the next lessons. Okay, 2. So 2, as many of you probably learned, is a backward J. So down, up, down, up. Actually, it's really a combination of downbeat, upbeat, downbeat, upbeat, downbeat, upbeat, downbeat, upbeat. You do want to have the plane that you're using for down, up. The second beat should be a little bit higher than the downbeat so that you're not getting confused. If I'm showing this, you could very well think, I'm not really sure where he is. And so you want to make that a very strong distinction, down, up, down, up. All right, so here we go. Again, 4 bars should suffice for you. 1, go. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2. Okay, so the next part of this video assignment that you have is giving prep beats on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Giving the prep beat on the first beat, you've already done that by showing the 4 pattern. We can do that. I mentioned to you in our session today that 2 prep beats are necessary, typically, with some exception, to giving a good start to the music. I realize that there are other ways of going about things. Sometimes you'll see many different examples online of many great maestri who will show you how to enter as an ensemble. I find that two prep beats will always be very, very useful arsenal for your execution of conducting. The first beat of a prep beat, the first prep beat, is for you because it comes out of nowhere. If I suddenly do this, you have a hard time maybe knowing what happened, especially if you're supposed to move. Maybe that would work for like a big entrance, and I would probably do that, like a opening of Beethoven Egmont Overture, bomb, kind of thing. But if I need to have a something that's in tempo right away, I need 3, 4, 1. The first beat being for me, because that's showing me I'm getting into that tempo, and the second beat's for you, and now we go. You notice that all my prep beats are always higher than the downbeat. So starting on 1 in a 4/4 pattern, 2, ready, go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And we don't really need anything beyond that because we're just giving prep beats. Okay. So the second beat. So if you're coming in on the on 2 of the third of 4/4 pattern, you're giving. I mentioned this in our session earlier today. It's hard to get 4, 1, 2. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I typically, this is one of those exceptions, 1, 2. Now you'll also notice I'm giving a left-hand cue. It's so desirous of me. But if you're giving really the prep beat on the second beat, 1, 2. Since I mentioned the left hand and prep beats, I don't use my left hand for prep beats. I use my left hand to help me to show the group the entrance when they're supposed to happen. So for example, where we were before on the first beat, 3, 4, 1. So if I do 3, 4, 1, it becomes redundant. The 3, 4, 1 will be a very great way to bring everybody in together. So same thing here, 1, 2, small, bigger. Probably the hardest of the different prep beats that you have to show and execute. So, and if you need to use your left hand to cue in those entrances, 1, 2, that's great. 1, 3. I guess the other thing I didn't mention going along here, is that you should always breathe with a prep. You should always breathe when you bring a group in. So your string player, you should breathe. Percussionist, you should breathe with the tempo, with that upbeat, and inhale and exhale out on that entrance. So going into the third beat, cue, it's much easier than cueing the second beat. 1, 2, 3. 1, boom. I'll do that again. 1, 3, 4, 1, 2. If you wanted to use your left hand, you may, as a cue for the entrance, or music that would begin with a third beat, and to help reinforce a good tempo. Here at 60. 1, 2, 3. And then finally the fourth beat. Fourth beat, not too different than where we were before. It's just you're going 2 beats beforehand. 2, 4, 1. So that might be the only challenge, is that your fourth beat in a 4/4 pattern. 1, 2, 3. A little higher on the fourth beat is remembering to give that 2, 3, 4, 1 kind of thing. So I'll give you a demonstration. Okay. So that's basically what I'm expecting for the video. You go from this. I highly encourage you to read up about prep beats and posture and patterns in the Elizabeth Green book. Sometimes it's helpful to write out the pattern just to get the visual idea of how everything fits together. But I know that you as teachers are using this every day, and that this will come in handy a lot. So, all right.